Hi, this is Jamie Magrich coming to you from my craft table. Today I'd like to show you how I made this card. This was an older card that I made. It's not with Stampin' Up! Products, but I wanted to recreate it using Stampin' Up! Products. It stands up. Oh, why is it sticking now? Because I'm on camera, right? It folds up flat to go into an envelope. Then it just pops up and will sit on your table. So let me get started and I'll show you what you need to make a card similar to this. It's not exactly the same card because I wanted to try and do it with Stampin' Up! So what you're going to need is a thick card, which is 4 1/4 by 11 inches. We need another piece of card which is 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. We're going to need some paper to cover that, and this particular one is let's see, I've forgotten now, 5 1/4 by 4 or by 3 1/2, 5 1/4 by 3 1/2. I have 2 strips which are 5 1/4, or nope, they're 4 by 1 1/2, and 2 that are 4 by 3/4. I'm gonna need a piece of wood grain paper, some scraps of green. I've got granny apple green, I've got garden green, and some lemon lime twist, which I cut some leaves out of previously, and a scrap of whisper white to stamp some flowers on. So let's start by prepping the card base. Okay, we're going to bring in our scoring tool. Make sure you can see. Alright, and we're going to score this at 1 inch. 2 3/4, 3 3/4, 5 1/2, 7 1/4, and 8 1/4, and then at 10. Okay, so that's all the scoring we're going to need. Now this center line here at 5 1/2, we need to cut a slit in there so that you have a couple options. We can bring in our trimmer. And this is locked, unlock it. And on either side of that score line, we're gonna just move it over just a hair on either side of it. Going to come down about 1/4 of an inch. And do a cut. Stop before you get to the end, about the same distance, basically. Okay, and then we're going to move it over the other side of that and do that same thing again. Okay, then we're going to come in with our snips. We're going to snip that little bit out. I don't know if you can see, but okay, and then okay, so that's one option. Let me show you the other option. The other option is once you've got it scored, let me score it real fast. 1 inch, 2 3/4, 3 3/4, 5 1/2, 7 1/4, 8 1/4, and 10. Okay, we have a die. It's meant to cut a barn door. It has 2 little slots, and what you can do is line that up on that die and run it through your machine with your plate only on this part. You don't want it to cut this one, you just want this one to cut. So you'd line it up, center it up on that space. You'd make your sandwich, you've got your big shot platform, your thin die adapter, a cutting plate. I'll put this down here. Line this up so it's centered side to side, and this cutting line is right on that line, on that crease. If you need to tape it down, that's fine. Then you're going to take your top cutting plate and you're going to put it like this, so that it's just going to cut this piece. If you put it over too far, it makes creases in your paper. It's not going to really matter because you're going to cover it up. And then you're going to run it through your machine. Okay. That's what I have here. Now you'll see I had my plate a little bit farther, and you can see those marks here. That's why I said you don't want to put your plate too far this way. Okay, so we've got 2 different options for making the slip. And let's go ahead and proceed and make our card then. Okay, so we're going to fold on all the lines. We're going to bring in a bone folder. We're going to make sure those creases are nice and good on all of these folds. Folding them in on ourselves, and we're creasing them good. The center one, you don't really want it to fold, but you needed that crease so that you knew where to do to cut it. So, okay. Okay, we're going to bring in some tear and tape. We're not going to take the backing off of it yet, but we're going to put tape on these 2 1-inch pieces on the edge. And we want we want it to be covered fairly well. You could use wet glue also, but we're going to do both sides. Now we're going to place it aside for a minute because we need to prepare the panel that's going to go in there. Okay, now you'll see on this one, the panel is going to sit within the bottom here at least 1 inch, maybe a little bit more than that. So it's going to be very difficult to put the paper on after it's created. So you're better off at least putting the base paper on prior to inserting it in here. So that's what we're going to do next. Take a piece of the Designer Series paper, and this is the Gingham Gala. I like the little checks. Come on, open. I left it sitting on my table, so hopefully I can get it to start. Get another one out. One of them has to work, right? Maybe not. I'm just real bad about leaving them open. Okay. Well, here's one. This one should work. Yay! Oh no. Seriously. I'm gonna put you on pause and I'll be right back. Alright. Finally got a glue to open. Let's glue this blue gingham piece onto the 3 3/4 by 5.5 inch piece. And the width of this is determined by the width of your slot. You can make it a little shorter as well, but okay. Now I'm going to take this. I'm going to take the tape off of one side. This is some generic tape I had floating around. Alright, now we're going to line the bottom of the card with the bottom of this piece. Wait a minute. Make sure I'm doing this correctly. I'm not. That's why I'm glad I stopped. With the bottom of the fold. So it's folded up on itself. And this is going to go lined up with the bottom of that fold, centered. Okay? And we got to stick this through this slot, so we got to work it in the slot. Alright. And we're going to take the tape off. This other side. Or the backing, I should say, off the other side of this tape. Okay, fold that down, fold at the 5.5 inch mark right over on itself. Make sure those corners and the bottoms are lined up. Okay, and that's the base of our card. Okay, let me see how that works. See? So these are the raw edges of the card, of the 11-inch piece put together, and this is sandwiched in between them. Okay, so now we've got our other pieces. These ones are going to go here, and then the skinnier one is going to go here on both sides. So let's go ahead and do that. Go there. Could change it up. You can use solid cardstock. You could put a sentiment on there. Whatever you want. And you'll see this covers up those marks where I overshot with my plate, so it doesn't really matter, but it's definitely more attractive without those. And you could mat these like I did on this one. On this one, see, I have an even skinnier piece, and then I matted it on another color. With this one, I didn't think it was necessary because the paper itself is white background. So, alright, so that's the basic of our card. Then we're just going to decorate this piece. Okay, and for that, where's all my little pieces? Well, there's one of them. I thought I had them all put aside. Okay, here we go. How'd they get over here? I thought they were all in my box, but they weren't. Okay, so I've got a few Stampin' Blends. I took the flowers from the Floral frames, and I stamped it with Memento on Whisper White cardstock, and I used the Balmy Blue blends combo to color them in, and that's what these are. Okay, that's the only stamping other than the sentiment. The sentiment I stamped, well, first I tried it on the Lemon Lime Twist, but then I liked it on the Balmy Blue better. The sentiment from His Grace, which is God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. Okay, and that's the only stamping that I'm doing. I did die cut some pieces out. I used the framelits to die cut out the flowers that I had stamped out and colored. And then with this piece, this is the foliage framelits. It came as a bundle with the floral frames. Now this piece here I cut out with Lemon Lime Twist, and then I took the 2-inch circle punch and cut out the center of it, and that's what this piece is here. I already put glue on the back of it. That's what this piece is here. And then I cut part of it off because I really only wanted this part of it. This is a 2-inch circle punch cut out with a, I just punched it with a 2-inch circle. These pieces are these from that same framelit set. And then these are these from that same framelit set. And this is Lemon Lime Twist, Granny Apple Green, and Garden Green. Okay. And I just ran them through my Big Shot. Alright, you can use anything you want, but, and then I have 2 pieces of the wood textured paper, and they're 1/2 inch, and this one I think I cut it 4 inches, and this one is 3 inches. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I want to make like a cross on here. I probably should have decorated it before I put it all together. It would have probably been easier. So I'm going to put that one right in the center. This one's going to go over the top of it. To make the cross. And then I'm going to use this piece tried an experiment, it didn't work so well. I thought maybe if I used the Sizzix glue sheets like you do your Xyron sticker maker, but it didn't work so well. Okay, so what I want to do is put this behind this piece and then on top of the other piece. So let's arrange it so that it sort of looks like the fabric that we would be draping over. Alright, I think that'll work. Alright, so now let's get the glue and glue this cross down. Okay, this. Right, I wanted to tuck it behind, but it's not going to go behind, so I'll just set it there. Straight. Okay. Just come on over the top of that. Okay, then I've got some of these foliages. Some of them have stickers on the back. Some of them don't. And I want this 3 flowers to go there. You want to make sure that anything that you're putting on here doesn't stick out too far, because it has to slide in the slot in order for the card to work correctly. Okay, put 3 of these with stickers on the back. Make sure I'm still in frame here. The Sizzix glue tape is not very forgiving. Once it's down, it's down. I thought it would be less messy than the Tombow, but it's really not. Alright, now I've got the other half of this. I'm going to just cut a couple little bits of this off and include it in there as well, because I want a little bit more of this lemon lime twist to be popping out there. That looks nice. I have this other flower. Decide if I want to put it down here on this, or if I want to just leave it. Let's go ahead and put it on there. Right there. Cut another one of these little leaves out. This will use them, I got them, right? Alright, well there's our card. Let's see, it folds inside. When it's closed, it is 5.5 by 4 1/4, so it should fit in the medium-sized envelope. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day.